devant toi.
Rent is based on La Bohème, an opera about a community of artists living in poverty amid disease in Paris in the 1830s. In 1989, Jonathan Larson was approached by playwright Billy Aronson about collaborating on a modern adaptation of the opera. Both writers saw similarities between their surroundings in New York and the conditions faced by the characters in La Bohème. The collaboration with Aronson fizzled out, but Larson later chose to move forward with Rent on his own. He was inspired by the spirit of the East Village community and also drew on experiences from his own life. Larson saw himself and his friends, a community of artists making their way through challenging times, reflected in the characters in La Bohème. And there are aspects of Rent that were personal to him. Larson, like some of his characters, made sacrifices in his lifestyle to pursue his dream. He cobbled together part-time work to support himself, but he still struggled financially. Fostering a close-knit community like the one depicted in Rent was important to him. He and his roommate had a tradition called the Peasant Feast, a holiday season potluck featuring impromptu performances shared among friends and neighbors. The night before rehearsals for the original production of Rent began, Larson hosted a peasant feast for the cast, noting in his speech that the show reflected parts of his life and people in it. Although Tick, Tick, Boom is the most autobiographical of Larson's works, several moments in Rent come directly from Larson's life. Larson and his roommate had an illegal wood-burning stove, like the one Mark and Roger have, that they used when their building had no heat. Their door buzzer didn't work, so like in the opening number, visitors had to call and have a key drop down to the street. The Life Cafe, where the Act 1 finale takes place, was an East Village institution from 1981 until its closure in 2011. Larson visited the cafe from time to time, and as Rent gained popularity, it became a treasured destination for fans of the show. In 2008, a few days ahead of Rent's final performance on Broadway, the cafe's owner unveiled a bench dedicated to Larson, surrounded by tributes to his memory and the impacts of the show. A major reason that Larson continued to work on Rent was the impact of the AIDS crisis on his community. When he was writing, AIDS was one of the leading causes of death among young people in New York, and the city accounted for nearly 20% of the country's cases. The epidemic was hitting New York arts communities particularly hard and touched Larson's life directly in several ways. In the mid-1980s, Larson's childhood best friend told him that he was HIV positive. Later, 3 more friends were diagnosed, and by the time Rent went into rehearsals, all 3 had died. Their names, Gordon, Allie, and Pam, appear in the libretto during the support group scene. However, actors are offered the option to substitute names of their own friends lost to the disease if they so choose. Larson accompanied his friend to meetings at Friends Indeed, an organization that offered counseling, workshops, and other services to people with HIV, AIDS, and other life-threatening illnesses. The principles that Larson was exposed to at Friends Indeed deeply influenced the ideas that make up the heartbeat of Rent. Counseling at Friends Indeed focused on helping people cope with fear, find hope, and live full lives. The support group scene is modeled after a Friends Indeed meeting, and you'll see its philosophies and lyrics throughout the show, including the very concept of no day but today. They are woven into Larson's deliberate choice to create a show about focusing on love and celebrating life. Like Mark, Larson sought to document and memorialize his community. In capturing what was important to him, he would also create his own legacy in the New York theater community and beyond. After transferring to Broadway, Rent became a cultural phenomenon and established Larson as one of the most important voices in American musical theater. Rent influenced hit shows like Spring Awakening, In the Heights, and Hamilton. A grant supporting early career musical theater writers was established in Larson's memory. Awardees include the writers of Dear Evan Hansen and Be More Chill. Larson's work ushered in the future he had wanted for Broadway.